Hello everybody, my name is Alphonse and this is Magic the Gathering, but not me drafting, rather me reviewing someone else's draft. My friend Darren is back with a deck draft that he wanted me to give feedback on, and naturally I'm gonna try making a semi-entertaining video out of it. I think just like a few days after he did the last draft, and I'm actually really excited because even though the draft I don't think has been complete as of yet, I'm really excited to say that I think he made way more correct picks this time around compared to last time, so really happy for him in that regard. Just like last time, I am going to give my feedback on what I would pick, and then using what I would pick, we'll talk about how to make the appropriate cuts. In this case, in this video though, I don't think I'll need to do the whole dual possibility thing because, spoiler alert, he and I end up at basically the same archetype. Whoo! So, anywho, let's just go ahead and jump to the draft. So, pack 1, pick 1. We, the main things that we see here are two highlights in Black Dragon and Warlock class. In this instance, I honestly don't even think it's close. I've been super impressed by Warlock class every time I've played with it. It's a really nutty card. It's at minimum just card advantage that like every now and then will ping your opponent for 1. And then if you get to 7 mana and just get to do this absurd final effect at level 3, it's surprisingly nutty. Very good for closing out games. Yeah, Warlock class is the pick here, and Darren did pick correctly here, and this is what I would have picked as well. So that's really good there. Pick 2. Again, I see that nothing else here stands out except, oh, Mama Grim Bounty, huh? So, yeah, 100% the correct pick in this pick 2. Darren did make the correct pick here. I'm proud of that man. I love that he's picking up what I'm putting down. Anyway, let's go ahead and pick 3. Here, this is actually a little interesting because I think I would also pick Wanty Fangblade in this scenario. Just because it is in our colors, it's really good early drop for black. This thing gets away with too many things. It's pretty good in that regard. But that being said, there's an argument to be made that you want to pick up Cloister Gargoyle. The thing has been a pretty good 3-drop for white. It blocks a lot of stuff with its 4 toughness. And later on in the game, once you complete a dungeon, because I imagine when you pick up this card semi-early, you aim to get other Venge of the Dungeon payoffs. This thing is a really good way to close out the games. So there's an argument to be made you can pick this up, but I think it is kind of ideal to play it a little safe and just pick up the black card, just so you know, because like you really want to be black after these 2 amazing picks here. So yeah, I think we'll just keep on the black train for sure. Yeah, once more. Yeah, Darren with the hits. Give this man some love in the comments down below. Anyway, here, here's where we actually come to a wrinkle. So, Darren picked Swarming Goblins, which is like not too bad. I personally have been pretty underwhelmed by this. Like it like, when it comes down, it's like 2 bodies, sure, but I don't know. It's very anticlimactic, I guess. However, there's a Sepulchre Ghoul, and I love this card so much. I think I might have talked about it a lot in the last video, but I don't know if I've exactly sold people on why this thing is amazing. So, first off, it's a free sack outlet. Sure, it's only once per turn, but you often don't care about that. You usually just want to sack once per turn anyway. That's the first step. Second step. Threat of activation is just such a huge thing. It's so great when you just get to attack in, and your opponent is like, oh, geez, do you want to block this thing just to get just a chump block when he can sack a thing? So that's another thing too. The threat of this being able to attack in for 4 power is just very useful at times. It's a good way to psych out your opponents. So I'm actually pretty high in Sepulchre Ghoul. That's what I'd pick up over the Swarming Goblins in this particular pack. So yeah. Boom, pick 5. Here, yeah, Death Priest easily stands out in comparison to a lot of these other cards. So I think I would pick this up, and I think Dare did make the right call in picking this up as well. There's arguments to be made that you could pick up Delver's Torch, especially if you might have been on the path that picked up the Gargoyle earlier. But again, I feel like if you know you got good black, you might as well make sure you get other good black as well, just so you have that solid foundation of really good cards. So, yeah, basically, Dare and I both would pick this card. And that is what I call a holla moment. Holla. Anyway, here, Wanty Fangblade is definitely a very good card to pick up. This card is definitely good enough to want to have multiples of. I do know that there's Deli Speed here, and it's possible you might want to pick this up if you want to do like a little bit of speculating. But I think the power level on Fangblade is high enough that you'd want to pick it up here. So I definitely agree with Darren that this was a good time to pick up this card. So yeah, let's keep it chugging. Pick 7. This pack is definitely a dud overall. Like, you pick up Kicking the Door, you hope you don't have to play it, but it's there. Oh, actually, there is a moon-based cleric though. Moon-based. Alright, anyway. Moon-blessed cleric here. And there is a point that, like, we're technically only just black. We don't really know what our second color is. So we could still be either black-red, but we could also be black-white. So I think this is actually a really good time to pick up the Moonblessed Cleric, because this card is actually kind of decent. Obviously, it sucks that it doesn't add to your hand, but the fact that there's still some useful enchantments to get, like in this deck alone, we have the Warlock class to pick up, means that it's surprisingly decent. Like, way more decent than you'd expect. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and pick up the Moon. I'd go ahead and pick the Moon-based Blessed Cleric here, although I definitely don't fault anyone for not going down the white path and just picking up a random card here, like Kicking the Door, that is like marginally playable as like your 23rd card in a black-red deck. Anyway, pick 8. Here, I see another Sepulchre Ghoul. I'm in for this thing. I want to pick up my second one here. Holla. Hired Hexblade isn't too bad, but like, man, I just want to make sure I load up on all my sack outlets. So, like, this card has been very, very good in this format. And the bigger deal too here is, along with the reasons I mentioned earlier, it also makes card Price of Loyalty, basically the Act of Treason that gets a boost in power if you cast it using Treasure Mana. It makes that card way more valuable in pick order, which can be very handy, because that means that you can get away with nuttier shenanigans. So I'd pick up my second Sepulchre Ghoul here, even though Hexblade isn't too bad. But yeah, I am high on sacking. Yeah. Anyway, pick 9. Here, everything else here is pretty marginal. I guess an argument could be made that, like, you could pick up Celestial Unicorn here, but we don't have any indication of life gain, so it feels really medium, and it's a little bit of a weird thing to speculate on, considering that. So I think I'd just rather just pick up You Come to a Null Camp. It's at least a combat trick. Honestly, you don't hope to run it, but hey, it'll be there if you need it. Anyway, pick 10. Here, so my friend went with Fate's Reversal, and it's definitely like a pretty decent card. Also finishes a dungeon, also very nice. But I think I'm actually high, or not high, but I think I'd actually rather pick up a Hoarding Ogre. I just like the idea of having this 4-drop creature that will have to make treasures for me, and especially if we end up going the black-red route, then it would be it's a pretty decent creature to have in a deck, in case you have to play some stuff. This is like, you won't complain about playing this, basically. Definitely these are on pretty equal ground, even though I'm going to pick up the Ogre. Fate's Reversal is still a pretty decent pickup here. So I don't fault Darren for that. Like, these are kind of on equal footing, I'd say. It's a matter of preference, I suppose. Pick 11. These Tools is the only black card in the pack, and one I'd be happy scooping up, and so was Darren, and that is great. Pick 12. This is the pack. You just pick up the Devour Intellectus in black. You really don't want to play this card, though. It's not great. So underwhelming. Anyway, pick 13. Unexpected Windfall is definitely to pick here. You'll see if you have to play this. You wouldn't mind playing one if you have to. But, yeah. And then pick 14 is a dud. Like, no one cares about this card in Limited. Anyway, pack 2, pick 1. So here's a very interesting pack. So, obviously it's Dragon's Fire. It's pretty premium red removal. But I see Hand of Vecna. And I just see best of 1 games where you get to put this down on turn 3 after playing a 2-drop. And you basically win. There's very few ways of stopping this card, and it's fantastic. So even if the correct pick could be Dragon's Fire, I'd be so high on the Hand of Vecna, and I'm so glad Darren picked it up too. This card is just amazing to play with. Yeah. Like it's definitely not. I thought I came into the set thinking it'd be like what, like B plus A minus. It's probably closer to a B. Probably more so B minus, but man, the kind of games this card can make happen is just absurd. You're just attacking for so much damage. So on turn 3, it's too good. I think it's too good to pass up for my aggro loving brain. So Hand of Vecna, I'm picking up there. You know, Dragon's Fire may be the correct pick. I totally pick it up. I totally picked the hand. Talk to the hand, baby. Anyway, pick 2. Here's a Vorpal Sword at pick 2. This is, geez, it's so good. Sure, the equip cost is a little restrictive, but it's still just 2 mana. And for that, you get +2 power and Death Touch. It's pretty useful for trading up with stuff. So I say it's the correct pick here for sure. Like the only other cards I consider in the pack are like Hoarding Ogre and more still Plundering Barbarian, but they don't even come close to Vorpal Sword in this situation. So Vorpal Sword it is. Very cool that Darren gets to scoop up the good stuff. Anyway, here is pack 3. So Darren picked Manticore, which is definitely like fine. There's not really too much here impressive. Me personally, I'm giving the slight edge to Swarming Goblin, which again is not a card I generally like at all. But we have like 2 Sepulchre Ghouls at this point, and it is technically sack fodder. Like it does provide that, which I think is what in this particular context give it just enough of an edge. It's very close though. Like either of these picks are pretty comparable in correctness, I'd say. Yeah, so average pick 7, average pick 6. Oh wow, the Goblins actually end up getting drafted more than the main card. That's a fun fact. I love again. There's so much useful information on the 17 lands. This is a reminder that y'all should use 17 land if you're drafting on Magic the Gathering Arena. It literally helps you out so much, especially in situations like this where you get to review your drafts and stuff. But yeah, basic gist is that Darren picked Manticore, I picked Goblins. Either is probably about on equal footing. Probably. Yeah. Anyway. Pick 4. Here I see our 3rd Sepulchre Ghoul. And I'm like, yo, I am in. I just want to get all the 2-drops. I want to get all the sacking. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. There's actually one pick I don't think is correct on one of several, I think, at this point that I don't think is correct. I don't think Herald of Hadar is a good card at all. It's a turn 5 play just for a 4/4 that every now and then you're going to be spending mana on to drain your opponent. But by the time you do that, it's You'll rarely ever get into board stalls where this ability is useful. Personally, you'd much rather just have a more aggressive board and stuff. So I'm personally behind pick up the ghoul. Arguments could be made that you might want to have either Valor Singer or Fangblade, but regardless, I don't think you want to pick up Herald, especially pick 4. Yeah, average pick 8. Yeah, this is definitely very much like a card you pick up on the wheel if it comes up, and you hope to not play it. So there's that. Also, price of loyalty here. I'm like, I have 2 Sepulchre Ghouls, but I kind of want to grab some more. I don't know. I just think the upside in this card is just very good. So, I'll pick up the Sepulchre Ghoul here. Pick 5. I see Kalei, and I'm like, yo, that's great. I want to scoop up this lady. I wanna get some treasures, buff up my dudes. Pretty good stuff. I do know that there's a Hobgoblin Captain and especially a Dragon's Fire, and I feel like, again, the Dragon's Fire is probably the more correct thing to pick up here, but I just really like Kalei. I don't know what else to say. Just like, you get +1/+1 counters for casting creatures with treasures. It's just too useful, man. Anyway, so there's that. Clean here. Yeah, so Darren and I do be on the same page. Okay, pick 6. We finally get to pick up first Dragon's Fire, Hala. That's great. I pick it here. It's a little bummer missing out on the Morningstar, but I think it's really useful to grab removal here. So I think it is correct just to pick up the Fire at this point. Even though I do like the Morningstar a lot. Like, Trample, again, really give anything a form of evasion is just huge. So you do want to try picking these up when you can, but I don't know if you can pass up a Dragon's Fire in the context of our deck, in which our only removal right now is the Grim Bounty, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Anyway, there's that. Dragon's Fire, I think, is the pick here. It's very sad missing out on Morningstar, though. Pick 7. Here, again, I don't know if I initially pick up the Herald of Hadar here. I'd probably be a little higher in picking up the Fates Reversal. Pretty sure that's what I picked up, at least. Yeah, sounds about right. Anyway, so yeah, I think that would be the play that I'd go with over the Herald. You could also possibly pick up Improvised Weaponry, but geez, this card's so bad. It's like after paying 3 mana for a shock is just major oof territory. Even though I wouldn't be surprised if this card is not as bad as it seems in a vacuum. But yeah, I'd probably just still pick up Fates Reversal here. Anyway, here we got a here Darren went with Fade and Death. I'd probably go with Boots of Speed actually, because I think this card just does more, effectively giving stuff later haste is very handy, and the power boost can sometimes matter too. I just think it's a card that will do more in the deck than Feign Death, which is, I don't know, generally just find this a very finicky card to play with, because, like, oh boy, all you get is just a trade, and then you get back your thing, which, like, sometimes could be problematic, but I don't know. It's, these, like, situational combat tricks just never do it for me. So I'd personally pick up Boots rather than Feign Death here. Pick 9. There's an Armory Veteran. So in tandem with the Hand of Vecna, the Vorpal Sword, and then in our case, the Boots of Speed, Armory Veteran stonks go way up. This is a really good time to pick this guy up. So, very much good stuff there. Pretty satisfied with that. Pick 10. Here is a chance to pick up either Hoarding Ogre and Plundering Barbarian. I'd probably pick up the Barbarian. Darren did too. Sweet. On the same page. That's a awesome moment. Here, of these, I forget if this was the one that had the... I think this is the pack where, like, we picked up this goblins earlier compared to when Darren did, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So this would be technically dead pack for me. Honestly, like, you can't really, like, tell drafts ahead of time, so it kind of do be like that. But hey, Darren gets to pick up the Swarming Goblins now. Pick 12, and whoo, the price of loyalty you wield. I'm like, kind of pumping my fist. I'm like, yeah, yeah, we get to play price of loyalty with 3 free sack outlets. Pretty great. Yeah, that's definitely the pick here. Pick 13. Darren went with Feign Death again, but there's check for traps right over there, which again is, as I mentioned in the past, is a card that's only overperformed for me. I just love this card way too much. So I'm definitely gonna be a rogue, checking for traps. It's a good time. Let's go. Pick 14 and another Null Camp card. All right, pack 3. So Darren went with Rust Monster, which I mean is a decent card, but Dragon's Fire is right over there, and I'm pretty convinced that this card is like leaps and bounds better than Rust Monster. You can actually even tell too by the average pick order. Like this average pick order here is 2.6, which is sounds about right. You usually want to try securing this within the first 3 picks. If you see you're like, yoink, that's a pretty good signal that can go red. While this one is often picked much later in the draft. So there's that. I'd personally pick up Dragon's Fire. This would be my second Dragon's Fire, while for Darren he still has 1. So yeah, that's that's pack 3. Pack 2, Darren went with the Baleful Beholder, which is definitely a card that you can play, and all that. But I think in the context of just wanting to have removal, I'd much rather pick up Faraday's Fireball. I would hope not to have to play it, but like if I do, then I don't mind having this removal option. So I'd probably be a little higher on the Fireball compared to the Beholder here, personally. Pick 3. Here, there's a Goblin Morningstar, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna skip out on it this time, baby. Give me the Morningstar. Let's do some trampling. So yeah, I would totally pick up this card right now. This is a great time to pick it up, and I'm glad Darren got to pick it up too. This card's gonna put in a lot of work for him. Anyway, pick 4. The Rust Monster here, this is now a good time to pick it up because there's not really too valuable to consider here. So Rust Monster is a very good pickup at this point, and this is one I'd pick it up too. Here, so Darren picked Earth Cult Elemental, which is definitely pretty decent. This card does decent enough work, even though your opponents will often just sack lands. It's kind of unfortunate, but hey, it do be like that sometimes. It's still just 6/6 for 6, which does a surprising amount of work in limited. I think I would personally want to pick up a Deadly Dispute because I like being able to draw cards for mostly free, especially if you just sack treasures. So I'm pretty high in Deadly Dispute myself, especially in this pack. I think it's the better pick than Earth Elemental personally. So yeah, pick 6. Here, it's very interesting. So Darren went with Horde Robber, which I do think is a pretty nice card for these black-red decks, especially if you have a Thieves Tool. But in the context of what Darren drafted, I do feel like you just want to grab your Armory Veteran here. Just because, again, the upside on what this thing can do with all the cheap equipments in Darren's deck is just huge. So I think it's more worth it than the Horde Robber, personally. Pick 7. Here, I also would have picked the Army Veteran at this point, just as Darren did. Pretty good pickup there. Pick 8. Here, yeah, I think this would be about when I'd pick up the Hoarding Ogre. I don't know how much I feel about playing 2 of these, rather than just the 1. I'm trying to remember if yeah, okay, anyway. I think this would be my second one, if I'm not mistaken. So, anyway. But we'll just pick up here. We definitely want to see if we can cut it later, because we'd much rather have earlier drops than Hoarding Ogre. And then here's yet another army veteran, so I'd pick it up here too. This is a really great time to pick this up. This card's gonna be gassed with all the equipments in the deck. Here, nothing else matters too much. Just grab a random card, Barbarian class. I definitely wouldn't run it in the deck though. Here, there's a check for traps. Hey, Darren, grab the check for traps here. Forget. Hopefully he'll be able to run it in the deck. And then here, just another unexpected windfall. You hope you don't have to run too many of those. Dud pick, and another null camp. So that's the draft. Now let's go over to through the deck building, and let's start cutting some cards. Yeah. All right. So let's start off by cutting out all the cards that are off color, because we definitely did not draft any bombs in colors outside red black. So goodbye you, goodbye you, goodbye you. Okay. We still have a lot of cuts to go through. So we have a lot of mediocre cards here, like Devour Intellect. I'm inclined to cut at least like 2 of these. I doubt I run them all. I'll just put in 1 just in case we end up doing that. Let's see what else here. Oh yeah, I think I can comfortably cut out all the unexpected windfalls. I definitely want to cut 1 of the swarming goblins. We'll see if we end up just cutting them all. That one surprised me, actually. And then probably 1 of the hoarding ogres. We still have a lot of cuts to go through. In this context, we actually probably get rid of Fate's Reversal here, because you'd much rather just have all our 2-drops be creatures, I'd say, or like as much like creatures / relevant stuffs as we can. So I think Fate's Reversal, unfortunately, gets the boot. Let's see what else we can cut, though. Yeah, I'm honestly pretty high on just cutting everything that is that's like both of our 5-drops, and then probably even the Hoarding Ogre as well. Although we do have Kalane that kind of boosts the value of Hoarding Ogre a little bit. So I think here, because we have 2 Dragon's Fire, Price of Loyalty, and a Grim Bounty. I think we're gonna definitely rerunning those. I think we'll be fine without a Faraday's Fireball. So yoink, get out of there. Still at 29, and we didn't draft any lands this time around, so we still have a lot of cuts to go. That definitely means that you come to the null camp will super duper get the cut. Like goodbye there. Here. We did get rid of our swarming goblins. I wouldn't be surprised if we're supposed to go down to 2 on a Sepulchral Ghoul. I want to save that a little later, though. I'd rather see if I can cut some other stuff. Coming up. I think Rust Monster is fine to keep in the deck. I want to see if there's any 3-drops I can cut, though. That would be nice. But it does look like we might have to cut through some early stuff. So, check for traps, I can pretty comfortably just cut down to 1. I don't want to cut it fully, if only just because I like the effect enough. I think it's worth having a copy of 1 in there. We have 27, we need to cut 4 more cards. So yeah, I think at this point I'd cut 1 ghoul, just the 1 though. I want to keep 2 though. Mainly just so Price of Loyalty is more often activated, I guess. Here, I think you are supposed to take out Boots of Speed here. Just because it's just much more marginal compared to Vorpal Sword and Hand of Vecna. So, yeah, I think I'm going to give that the boot. Also makes our mana a little more generous. We can get away with... I think we're getting to a point where we only need to run more black than red. And the more you can make... The more consistent you can mana, the better, obviously. So we'll see if we can make some cuts here red. Because we definitely have a lot of black action going. It would not surprise... No, I kind of want to keep Deadly Dispute, though. Because, again, it's just card draw for free. So I really hope we don't have to cut that. We do need to make 2 more cuts, though. Oh, we still have the Swarming Goblins? Oh, let's give that the boot. Bye, Felicia. And then, final pick. Final cut, rather. will probably be... Let's see here. It also could be the Hoarding Ogre. I don't know how much I'd want to have that personally. So, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And look at that, we have this pretty sweet deck that would be really cool. It's black-red again, but hey, black-red's the best color archetype and all that. So anyway, hope this video helps out Darren, hope this helps out all the other drafters out there in the world. If you enjoyed the content, please like, comment, subscribe, and spread the word. See ya!